Hello, I'm Nelson Berta from bnetTV. Welcome to 4G World in Chicago 2011. And with us is Sandra Palumbo from the Yankee Group. How are you doing, Sandra?
Very well, thank you.
Sandra, I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite subjects, cloud computing.
It's one of my favorite subjects too.
You and I, we have like a relationship here that is working very well.
Right.
I feel like in Candyland here. But talk to us about how do you see cloud computing in the industry today? Because it was something more like at the desktop side. It was an application. I need to back up my data to the internet. And it was not part of the mobile industry.
Exactly, and it was a lot of hype. I mean, everybody was talking about cloud computing. It was very well hyped up. It was a huge marketing tool within the industry, but in the reality of it, it was, enterprises virtualizing their data centers, doing, remote backup for storage and things like that. But it really wasn't an embedded part of the enterprise infrastructure or even consumer world.
Absolutely not.
And then there was the explosion of the mobile devices. And I think 2010 was a huge watershed year for this because we had the launch of the iPad and you had Android devices coming onto the scene, competing with Apple devices. Everybody's talking about their app stores. And a lot of that is made possible because of the cloud. And cloud computing as a platform for mobilizing applications, mobilizing services, really brings cloud and the mobile world together, creating a whole host of new opportunities for system integrators, operators, application developers, infrastructure companies, wireless operators, you name it. There's a cloud play for everybody at this point.
I mean, this explosion of the cell phone communication in terms of it's like almost like your own computer. And like every other computer, you have your own content, pictures, video, now more contactless, notes that I wrote, things that have to do with my own profession, how important my data is. The minute you lose that phone,
half your life is gone. More than half your life is gone.
And before it was just an apps that you just install in your phone. It was like, it's your choice if you want to back up your stuff, but this is just an apps. And the operating system market pretty much saw that, wait, this should not be just an app. This should be part of your operating system, as what we know about Apple today.
Exactly, and I think the operating system providers, some of the device vendors, really started looking at it as, we also don't want to leave it up to the user to determine when they're going to back it up. The original iPhones, if you wanted to back it up, you had to back it up to your laptop or desktop computer yourself. And if they're anybody like me, they did it like once.
Yeah, but when was the last time you synchronized your computer with your phone?
Exactly. Probably 2 years ago when I got the phone. I have that
one little portion of it left, and I can't live with that.
Exactly. So now there's this term of the personal cloud, which is that we all end up with our own little tiny cloud in the sky for our personal data. And it would be set up in a much more automatic way as a service, either by an Apple, like the iCloud, or by an operator who could use a third party or develop it themselves to allow, so a Verizon or a Sprint or an AT&T could offer the remote mobile backup service where you're uploading your pictures, your contacts, your files into this little personal cloud in the sky. And if you lose your phone, or if you just want to upgrade your phone, it can be a nice, easy transfer to your new device, and no disruption to your day-to-day life. No worrying about that great picture I took when I was, in Rome. I now lost it. It's there.
So, what is that relationship between the provider and the user now that you have this cloud computing architecture? I mean, usually I used to go to I lost my phone. I will go crying to my provider. Can you do something to get my data back?
Yes, and maybe they could get you some of your contacts, maybe. But anything that was actually on the device itself, like the photos, like some of the applications, like any documents, were pretty much gone forever. What it really does for the relationship is it makes it a stickier relationship from the service provider perspective. So you're going to be less likely to totally switch operators if the operator is the one who's storing all of your data in their cloud. Because you don't want to have to worry about, well, how do I get that back from them? And then how do I give it to a new operator? So it does make for a stickier relationship.
Place to place.
Exactly. So, and what's different from, say, an operator offering it versus an Apple is, with Apple today anyway, you have to use Apple products and have the right operating system on all of your different devices to be able to really leverage it, where if an operator offers it, you likely will be able to use a variety of different devices and operating systems, and at least that would be the vision of the future for how it would work.
And from what we spoke before, it seems to be there's another industry now that is benefiting from cloud computing, outside from the provider and the end user.
Yes, you have the infrastructure vendor community that really is benefiting from this and allowing them to move from just beyond hardware suppliers to either operators or to large enterprises and really start to offer services themselves. So you have the EMCs and the IBMs, you have Amazon and Google who now can offer consumer and business cloud services for storage, for backup, for even in some cases for mobilizing some applications or moving some applications into the cloud. So it really opens the playing field. It provides a lot more choice for users, whether they're consumer or enterprise, in terms of who they can turn to for their cloud and mobile needs.
But I mean, really, seriously, you never thought that this was going to happen. I mean, I don't think nobody actually saw cloud computing being now a requirement of the operating system. And both from Windows Mobile to Android to Apple iOS, it seems to be that this is going to be the de facto.
Yes.
That this is going to be another tool. And the revenue part is they'll give you 3, 5 gig, but it will get to a point there. A lot of them are not just regular users, but business customers.
Yes. And a huge opportunity in the business market to actually solve the problem of how do I keep my personal life separate from my business life.
Correct.
Or for an enterprise perspective, I want to let my employees use the phone or device of their choosing, but if they leave the company, I need to make sure that I can get my data back and my contacts back and things of that nature. And cloud solves a lot of those problems and makes it easier for even mobile app developers to work with enterprises to mobilize enterprise applications for a variety of different devices, because the concept of cloud being, I only have to build it once. And it'll work on a variety of different platforms, as opposed to when it's done more natively to the device, every application has to be built to a specific device and a specific operating system and even a specific version of that operating system for it to really work well.
So pretty much this is the time where you can change phones and the data moves with you.
And the data moves with you. And it makes it easier to upgrade, it makes it easier to change jobs, it makes it easier to do a whole lot of things because everything, and it takes some of the worry out, because everything will be available to you, whether it be from an enterprise perspective or from a consumer personal cloud perspective.
I do feel myself like, I do see myself going on vacation and say, I forgot that movie that I forgot to bring, and wait a minute, I forgot I uploaded it in the cloud, let me downstream it to myself. What else can you come up? I mean, this is just one idea of many.
Yeah, and I mean, from a worker perspective, you're on vacation and all of a sudden your boss calls you and is like, I need I need you to edit this presentation really quickly for me, but you didn't bring your laptop with you. But, there are ways to be able to have it stored in the cloud, accessed from anybody's device, edit it, put it back up, and your boss is all set.
Well, Sandra, thanks so much for spending time with us. Like I said, cloud computing is my dream subject.
Mine too.
And this is just the beginning of one of many topics to come.
Yes, indeed.
And I will see you next time, because cloud is just the beginning, just a pool of many things that are going to derive from it. And it's just the beginning of one of our many conversations.
It really is just taking off.
Well, Sandra, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And this is Nelson Pereira from bnetTV at the 4G World in Chicago 2011. Thank you.